Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
It's on both sides. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Millennium News 24 Power Talk show, and I'm your host, Eric Stevenson. I'm with you. Welcome back to another great show, as we always promise to keep it very across the board with health, politics, business, etc. But today, I think it's a very needed topic, a discussion today, as the outcry of suffering has to now stop. With us today, and I mean in Gaza, with us today, we have the first pharmacist that actually entered into Gaza to assist the suffering people and the sick and wounded people with us as a guest today, and we're honored to have her. She has such a courageous spirit and such a warrior to be able to do such things and have the heart to do it. So we want to thank her and welcome her, Dr. Ghada Abukuwaik, Dr. Ghada Abukuwaik, a pharmacist. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me today with you. I appreciate that.
Yes, I am happy, and we was able to find someone like yourself who has firsthand experience on the ground, not hearing about what you heard from America, coming from Gaza, not what we saw on the limited news outlets we have here in America, but someone who's actually went in on the ground and got the firsthand experience and able to be here to tell it. So, why don't you tell us what got you there? Of course, we know you were needed, but what motivated you yourself to go?
We heard about medical missions going into Gaza since January 24, and many of the healthcare providers, doctors, surgeons, and nurses, they signed with different NGOs that they would like to be over there to help people in Gaza. And I am one of many different people that we really wanted to go and to help as much as we can. But actually it was very limited. Every 2 weeks, few of the doctors will be able to go and enter and help in the hospital over there. And as a pharmacist, of course, there is no kind of, to be honest, need or able to help in the surgeries, in the rooms of the ICU and emergency room. So it was kind of limited only to doctors and nurses. But I was so blessed, and I knew that when I went back in May, by the way, we were the last medical mission that entered Gaza before the Rafah border was blocked and it was occupied by the Israeli soldiers. So we were able back then in May, we were 19 doctors, surgeons, and nurses, and we had with us 300 bags of medical supplies and medications. And that was kind of my goal over there. How to be, I procured, and this was kind of a blessing, many medications that were not available, IVIG, the albumin, kind of insulins that they need kind of way of transportation that it was not easy to be carried, and we carried thousands of it with us through our luggages. So I believe as a human being, all of us, we truly want to go over there and to help people, but unfortunately, we're going to talk about all the challenges and that we were not. We helped as much as we can. You know, we don't have the tools. Doctors are there available to help, of course, a few of us, but we have no tools. The demand of the medical supplies and the medications is huge, but the supplies are very limited. And that was the main challenges that we actually witnessed over there. Just imagine people coming to you that they need very essential medications and gauze, antiseptic in the surgeries or in the emergency room. And it was very normal to say there is no antiseptic, there is no medication, there is no gauze in the injuries and in the trauma services. So we're going to talk about all the stories. We had so many stories. People in Gaza, each one has a story. And whatever we're going to say, what we live in, when you go and you live over there, it's way different than just being right now sitting on the chair talking on the TV. It's a huge and big difference.
I can imagine. So what happened in the case of a person, let's say, who was a diabetic who was on insulin and didn't get access to insulin? So what happens to an individual like that?
Uh, the first day of my mission, it was the first day, and we had with us, as I mentioned, we procured so many medications and insulin. There was a boy, he was 8 years old, and he was next to the wall, kind of no emotions and kind of a little bit sad emotion. People over there, they have a smile. I don't know how they have, all of them, they have smiles. We were actually the one who were sad about what we are witnessed, but for them it's kind of normal life. I don't know the resilience that they have. But let's go back to this boy that I actually had. I talked with him. I went to him. They told me that there is a boy need insulin. So I went to the 8 years old boy and I told him, "What do you need?" And he had the Lantus in one hand, and he had the Novolog pen in another hand, and he told me, "I need this. I went to the outpatient pharmacy and they don't have it." So I told him, "Where is your parents?" He said, "I have no one. My family, all of them has been killed, my parents, my brothers, but I only have one brother. He's 5 years old, and this insulin is for him. And I don't have a dose, the night dose, to give it to him." And he started to have tears on his face. So I looked at him and I said, "Okay, you are the one who's taking care." I remember back then, I remember my son. I have a son, he's 7 years old. And if we were in the same situation last year, he had a house, which actually now is destroyed. He had a family, and now he's 8 years old, taking care of a 5 years old, and he has to give him the insulin, and he has to walk barefoot to a hospital to ask for insulin, and then at the end, there is no insulin. I went to the outpatient pharmacy and I told them it was the first day. There is a kid outside. He needed insulin for his brother. They looked at me. There is no insulin. I didn't know how to digest what kind of this word. I said, "Well, but what shall he do?" They looked at me. "We have no insulin." I said, "So what next?" "He can go back to his tent." I didn't understand. I didn't know. It was so many emotions back then. But this was kind of normal thing. We had insulin with us when we entered Gaza. So I went to the storage. I took some of the insulin that we had with us. I gave him a few of them, and he went back to his tent. However, this was back in May. Okay, I don't know what happened with him. Usually, what I understood from people, that you will go through different complication because of shortage of this kind of insulin or medical medications of the diabetes or blood pressure or anything, and you end up you're gonna die.
Coma or dead, yes.
You're gonna die. Yeah.
So what about heart patients who had to take medicine for their heart?
It's not available. And I worked, volunteered in the outpatient pharmacy and inpatient pharmacy, and actually I was so lucky. I was the only pharmacist, overseas or coming with a medical mission. So my backpack has the anesthetic drugs and the essential painkillers that we had with us. So I witnessed, and I used to say to people when they come to the pharmacy with the prescription that we need this, as you mentioned, the heart medication or blood pressure medication, or you just name it. I used to tell patients, I look at them and I used to tell them, we don't have it. And it was very hard. It was very hard as a human being. They are like me. I'm not different than them. I'm a pharmacist here in New Jersey, and I have different pharmacists that I work with, and I have employees, and we have people coming in. We don't say this to our patients. It's not available, but there is not, and actually, as a pharmacist, there is kind of different plants remedies that you will tell the people to use. Even with that, if I will tell them you can use this kind of a plant, it is not available. And I witnessed it is not available. So the only thing, they will go back and they're gonna die peacefully. It's very
Yeah,
simple.
but this is categorized as a form of torture, because, how do you have an injured person who's in pain and don't give them access to painkiller? How do you have a diabetic who needs insulin and you don't give them insulin, or a heart patient, etc.? So this is like a slow death of pain. It's a form of torture.
There are so many different words that you can say it, but witnessing a paralyzed person, 23 years old, this was also the first day. He's on the kind of, let's say, the bed in a hospital. I don't know what kind of bed, but kind of something that he's laying on, and he needs some kind of medications for his, situation, and he has nothing. And yes, you are saying they're going to die. He ended up, actually, by the way, he passed away. But when he saw us with the vest, he requested, please, do you get with you some kind of those kind of medication for the paralysis, for his situation? And I looked at him, are you on any kind of medication? And he is not. And
Just hold it right there. We're going to take a quick break and come right back. Hold your thought, please. Hello, viewers in America and across the world. This is Eric Stevenson, host of the Power Talk show on Millennium News 24. Tune in every week at Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, American Time, and also on all of your iOS and Android devices. Also on Smart TV and Apple, Amazon, and worldwide through Verizon Satellite. And also worldwide through www.millenniumtvnews.com. And that's www.millenniumnews24.com. And through our social media, Millennium News. See you then. Welcome back to Power Talk. Eric Stevenson, host. I'm with you, and we have our guest here, Dr. Ghada Abukuwaik, first pharmacist that went to Gaza. So you could continue, Doc.
Yeah, so the lack of medical supplies and lack of medication is something very normal in Gaza, which is not normal. And every day we witness, especially kids, and this is what also I don't know how to digest and make it normalize, that why we are seeing so many kids and women killed and coming to the hospital from the bombing. More than 70% of people who come to the hospital, they are kids and women. And their injuries, many of them, they are very complicated, that you may not be able to help them with, because it's really very complicated and it needs a lot of kind of surgeries, and it's you can prevent the death if you have all this. But there are other 30% of people that they come, which you are able to prevent them from death. 10% kind of burn, that if you have some kind of medications and medical supply to help this 10% burn of kids, 1 year old, 3 years old, many of them, they will pass away in front of you just because you are not able to give them those kind of essential medical supplies and medications. So it was very harsh. We didn't, for us as a medical mission coming from, we are not local, to observe what's happening. We didn't understand how to live with it the first 3 days. After that, it was kind of a very normal for us to say to the parents and to the, in general population, that congratulations, this person gonna die. We name it over there shahada, he's gonna go to heaven. So we used to say congratulations, he's gonna go to heaven. It was very hard the first time to say it, but after that it was very normal to say it.
Wow.
And most of, honestly, Eric, most of people coming to hospital, they're gonna die. Whatever you're gonna do, because the doctors are there. And by the way, even the healthcare providers over there, they are heroes. 10% of the hospital, there are no healthcare providers. The doctors, they've been there for more than 7 or 8 months back in May. So most of them has been killed. So whoever is available there, they've been,
Doctors been killed?
doctors and nurses, they've been killed. They are not available. So let me say, in the service, when I was there were only around 7 pharmacists in the whole hospital. That is the hub for more than 50,000 people around the hospital. Imagine 7 people, full-time and part-time, that they are the only one volunteers, by the way, because as we mentioned, most of them has been killed, even in the surgeons and in the nurses. Many of the sections in the hospital, we were not able sometimes to perform an operation because the local nurses are not available. Either they've been killed, or the one who are available right now over there, they have to go to check on their tents, on their families, to move from place to place, because most of them, they've been moved more than 7 or 8 times back in May. So just imagine those kind of people, what energy they have, that they've been surviving 8 months of war, and most of them, they have no families either. Their parents has been killed, their kids, just name any kind of, all of them, each one of them, someone has to be been killed from his family, and they live in tent. They used to have houses, they are now in tent, and it's far away. And even to walk from the tent to a hospital, it's very dangerous. We were not able to do that. We had the green light just to stay in the European Gaza hospital. We cannot move 1 minute walking distance from the hospital, because if it happened and there was a bomb and we will be killed, it's not the liability on, this is a liability on us. So just imagine those healthcare providers that they have to walk. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 hours to be able to cross all the borders, to be able to come to the hospital with all the challenges they have, and to perform their work for 7 to 8 months. So lack of healthcare providers, lack of all the supplies, you are not, the shortage of the electricity. Many times, I remember there for 3 days, there was no electricity in the hospital. So you just imagine what's happening over there.
What about drinking water? What happened with that?
I felt guilt, Eric. I have my backpack and I have the water bottle with me. And we brought with us, the organization, PAMA, we brought with us water from Egypt. So we had enough water for us. But the guilt that you feel when you walk around and there are kids, they truly thirsty and hungry, and you have a water with you. And just imagine, I used to imagine my kid that he's thirsty, and I really wanted to give him from my water, the kids over there. But if I will give, how much is gonna enough? 1, 2, 3. What about others? I used to see, by the way, the kids over there, 4 years and 5 years old, and I have pictures of them carrying the gallons, empty gallons of the tanks, that they will come to the hospital for 2 hours a day. The hospital will give access to the population to fill up some of their containers, the gallons of the water, because there is no water, and there is no water truly. So they will come, those kids barefoot, 4 or 5 years old, to the hospital to fill up some of this kind of gallons to take it back to the family. When I went to the tents and I saw the families how they live in tents and in the schools. Let's say the classroom is a regular kind of classroom. It has around 7 tents, so it's a kind of covering, the bed covering that they put it there, or some plastic, not kind of strong tent, and each family, around 10 of them, separated from the other family next to it, 7 families in the same classroom, from different, they are not the same family. And there is no bathroom, there is no water. So you just imagine the infection control. And by the way, this is also happening in the hospital. The hospital, they don't have water all the time. So in the emergency room and in the ICU, if I want to wash my hand, there is no soap. We had our soap with us when we went there. So there is no soap and there is no water, only a few hours a day. Let's go back to the school. So the people live in the school with all this kind of very big population, with no water, with no bathroom. So
No
how
bathroom? Yeah.
no bathroom. There is in the school, there were around few bathrooms, which is out of, or you are not able to use. It's out of actually out of users, because I believe with what's happened over there, you are not able to use that bathroom. So people who have to go, they have to go to anywhere to use a bathroom. There was no bathroom. So when I spoke with the ladies, especially with the women and the kids, and by the way, those classroom or tent, the men will leave the women and kids to sleep in this tent or in the classroom, and they will be all together, sleeping together in a place, because they have to leave to keep, the authority, the tent for the woman and for the kid. And when I used to check with the females to see, how they are able to survive, when they show me their body, all the dermatological diseases that you can imagine, it is there.
Wow.
First, we mentioned about the infection control. It's zero. The hygiene, it is zero. There is no available water or soap to clean yourself. And then all of them, they look 20 to 30 years older than their age, because of the weather, because of the dehydration, because of the diseases, because of the sunburn. When we went in the summer in May, when I went to the tents, the tent is kind of a plastic and has holes, and you enter the tent, which has minimum each tent 10 to 15 person living in this tent. And as we mentioned about the hygiene and all these things, we used to have chocolate with us and scabies and lice medication. They loved the scabies cream and the lice shampoo more than the chocolate and other stuff, because this is what they in need of, and it's not available. So when you enter the tent and you see the kids there, you just imagine your kids. You imagine the normal human being. A kid want to have a toy or want to have a chocolate. Those kids, they are not normal kids. They don't want these kinds of things. When I ask them, what do you would like to have? The big thing that they want, this is a kind of the most thing that they are looking for, is a slipper. Because they've been 7, 8 months without flip-flop, not just even a shoes. A shoes is something big, just a flip-flop. Why this is happening? You just look at them and you feel, I had chocolate with me. They don't care about the chocolate, even though they are hungry. I was hungry, by the way. We stayed 3 weeks and many days, especially the last week, when kind of the stuff we don't have enough stuff, because as I mentioned, we were trapped after the Rafah border. I was crying. I want to eat. I'm hungry. and I was shy to ask for kind of some stuff from my colleagues. Um, and I felt the meaning of being hungry and having the money, but don't have the food to buy. So this is what's happening over there.
So what about the humanitarian? I guess they said there has so many humanitarian trucks that were lined up to go in. What about
Yeah,
this?
we hear. Well, I heard about this like you. I heard about this, and actually, when we entered Rafah, this was, I believe, in May 1st. For 5 minutes, and I have the video. The trucks of the humanitarian aid from different NGOs on the right and on the left,
Mhm.
United Nations, UNRWA, different names, big and small names. They are just big lines for 5 minutes. We are having the video on the right and on the left side. They are just waiting to be entered in the border. I didn't see that. People told me,
Mhm.
go ahead, yeah, you want to
Go
ask?
ahead. Mhm.
People told me over there what we have as a food. As I told you, the water we had it with us when we entered Gaza through the Pama. We used to eat the meat cans. It was available. It was of course horrible. Many of the doctors of us they actually had issues because of this kind of cans. It it was the only food available for us, and of course there was rice, there was a flour that they do the bread. So that was a kind of there that the people told me every kind of on and off there will have some kind of a flour that
Were
they
they
will.
able to cook? How did they cook? This is
Yeah,
right.
the some tent I saw the this is kind of because there is no power.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. How did they cook?
Yeah, so they are amazing. I love them. They
Hold
have this.
on. We're gonna take another break. Come back. Hold the thought. Right into it. 1 minute.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. كيف أحكي كيف أشرح لهم إياها؟
Viewers in America and around the world, welcome to Global Democracy. Your host Tapadar and
Hello, viewers in America and across the world. This is Eric Stevenson, host of the Power Talk show on Millennium News 24. Tune in every week at Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, American Time, and also on all of your iOS and Android devices. Also on Smart TV and Apple, Amazon, and worldwide through Verizon Satellite. And also worldwide through www.millenniumtvnews.com. And that's www.millenniumnews24.com and through our social media, Millennium News. See you then. Welcome back to Power Talk. I'm your host, Eric Stevenson. I'm with you and with Dr. Abukuwaik here. You want to continue on about the cooking? How was this done?
Yeah. So what I saw, what I witnessed in the tents, they have this kind of tank or foil. It's kind of very small, like this. This is the size of it. There is coal. It's called COAL, coal, that they have it, and this tank, foil, aluminium foil, and they have a few pans, every tent, one or two, or they actually kind of they take it from each other, and then they use this one to open the meat cans and to cook if they have food, if they are able to have the food, or usually the flour is kind of it was available back then in May that they do the bread. That is their food if it's available, because many times and many tents they don't have even this. In the hospital where I used to live, the European Gaza hospital, there were also actually tents. People they live in the hospital is not like a hospital that we see. It's different hospital, and actually I believe I sent its pictures of that. Um, when you enter the doors of a hospital, there are tents everywhere inside the hospital, and you have to move between the people. In that place, you will have some kind of stove, a small stove that usually we take it when we do hiking, and they have the power, and so they can do the cooking, the flour, the bread for them in this way. But in the schools and in the tents, that's not available.
Wow. That's I don't know, how that's only by the grace of Allah that they still able to survive and to even do such a thing, to be so creative to find a way without power to cook. Um, so what about the bombings? Did you witness and hear the actual bombs and going off when you was there?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that incident of the bombing, but once we entered the border, Rafah border,
Mm-hmm.
we started to hear the drones. The drones never stopped. There was never 1 second I was there within the 3 weeks that I didn't hear a drone. So the drone is 24 hours. The bombing, it was on and off. At the beginning, the first week, it wasn't that it was there, but the strength, it was a kind of the level of the bombing, it was high and low. But the hardest thing that I cannot forget until now, I have dreams when I used to hear the shooting. The shooting, because I know now that someone is been killed right now. I'm in the hospital and you hear the shooting happening. So it's around you and
Mm-hmm.
it's very high. And as a human being, we are just, healthcare providers.
Mm-hmm.
You are helping other people and you are hearing other people are killed right now and you hear the shooting around you. There was one incident because, as I told you, we shouldn't go to any place unless we have to get the green light from the Kogat to let us leave. So the green light is in the European Gaza hospital. So we're not supposed to go to any tent around us or any school or any place unless we get the okay from the Kogat. So after 2 weeks, their bomb happened just next to the hospital. It was one tent with, and the kids, they were killed. And those kids, they are the one that they used to walk with us in the hospital. So when we knew that this bomb hit them and they were killed, it's kind of really hard. Um, it's just that I don't know what to say, but what we went through, and the thing that we only went for 3 weeks. So whatever we witnessed, and the energy that we had, it was only 3 weeks. So we had a lot of energy. We had food, we had water, we had bathroom. In the hospital, I used to have a bathroom. Even though I have my soap and my, by the way, the soap and the tissue that I had, it was a treasure. I was keeping them in the Ziploc, and I don't want anything to happen to them because if I don't have them, I will have no hygiene for myself as well. So it was a big treasure for me. And when I left Gaza and we went to Jerusalem, as I told you, we were the last medical mission to be in Gaza. So we went to Kar Abu Salim and we were able to go to Jerusalem. And I was so blessed to visit Al Aqsa. So we stayed one night in a hotel next to Al Aqsa, Jerusalem. When I entered that hotel, it was 2, 3 hours away from Gaza. In the
How
morning,
many hours?
we left around 5 a.m. In the morning. We reached around 4 to 5 p.m. But it was because we had to wait
Mm-hmm.
a long time for the borders to open
Yeah.
for us and the Israeli people to let us go. But it's around 2, 3 hours usually from Gaza to
Okay.
Jerusalem.
Okay.
But the thing that I left Gaza at around 5 a.m. I went to the bathroom, I prayed, I have this, Ziploc which has my tissue and the soap. And then when I went to the Jerusalem hotel and I entered the room, that was the first also time that I was crying very heavily because I saw the bathroom and there is soap and there is tissue. And I looked to my backpack that I only have this and I was keeping it as a treasure. This is very normal for a human being. This is kind of a must. You have to have these things, especially in 2024. If you are talking about these kind of essentials stuff, they're going to say that you are crazy. You are talking about tissue and soap? Are you crazy? But this is what is there. I used to have it. Other local doctors, families, they don't have it. And I saw that they didn't have it. So just to balance all these things is truly very hard.
Yeah, that's you people don't really treasure or realize the blessing they have until it's taken away. And just as such basic things like you're talking about, a piece of toilet tissue, or a hand wipe, or just running water, or even a bottle of water. And I just can imagine being there and watch the little boy you talked about who is taking care of his 5-year-old brother, you know, and he has taken a responsibility to take care of the brother at such a young age, and to hear the story like this is very pitiful.
There
And
was another
so many
story of
more
this.
things to say.
Yeah, young. She was 11 years old. Of course, as I told you, there are so many stories. I'm gonna try to say as many as I can. There was this girl that she was 11 years old. She came to the hospital. The bombing happened, and she lost all her family. She came unconscious. She had injuries in her face, so she had to have so many surgeries to put skin to be able to have nose and mouth and kind of normal face. She had injury in her hip and other. Each person, whenever he has an injury, it's not only one injury; it's multiple injuries, and they're all complex injuries. This lady, this young girl, she came in, and she was lucky that they were able to help her out. After 10 days, no one told her that she lost her family. And after 12 days, she started to be conscious, and we want to tell her that you lost all your family. So it was very hard. At the end, they told her. I used to go to check on her, and as I told you, usually all of us, we were able to help a little bit. But the main help I believe that we gave away is our smile, our love, our just touching, their shoulders and telling them that we are with you. The whole world, they know what's happening, and we lift our families because we truly love you, and we need to be supporting you emotionally. So it's a kind of just emotional, touch and giving the care and love to them. So I used to visit this young girl, and I will never forget that day when she knew that she lost her family. She had a little brother, 7 years old, that she loved him so much, and now she know that he is not there anymore. So she had her cell phone. Her aunt brought her cell phone, and when I entered, when I was in her back, she didn't see me. She was looking on her cell phone to the videos with her little brother while he was playing with her. But she doesn't want to show us that she's sad or she's upset. Once she knew I was in her back, right away she shut down her phone and she looked at me with a smile and she said, I'm good, I'm doing well today, I'm fine today. So I was looking at her with and the videos with me. What does she has inside her? How they are different? What is the heart that she has and the mindset that she has all this resilience that she doesn't want to show to show that she's weak. Another kid, he was 7 years old. This guy, the Lulu guy, when we heard that he came to the hospital, I have a son who's 7 years old, Yusuf. So, and by the way, my family, my brother, my sisters, my family, they didn't want me to go to Gaza because they thought that, I will go there, I will die. Especially my son, Yusuf, the 7 years old. He didn't talk to me even one time when I was there because he said she's gonna die. I told her not to go. She insisted to go. I don't want to talk to her. So when this 7 years old, he there was also a bomb happened to his house, and we knew that there's a kid 7 years old came to the hospital. We ran to help him out. He had around 60% burns in his body, and the feeling as a human being that he is the only survival right away, Eric, you wanted to help and you want to make sure that maybe he's going to be the survival and hopefully he will do something. You don't want him to die because that's mean the whole family has been erased on the board. So you try your very best to help him. So right away the doctors, they came, they intubated him, they put all the stuff for him for around 4 hours. He was able to be stable. I myself, with the nurse, with me. We were Monica, she was there with us, and the medical supply that we have, we changed his wound and his burns. So we did that. So I know that it happened after 3 days. I'm talking at this about the maggots. Most, I'm not going to say all, most cases in Gaza, they have maggots. You don't know how this happened, but this is what we witnessed. This little 7 years old, we did that for him. We tried our very best. I treated him as my son. I used to go to him as if I'm his mother, reading for him the Quran, talking to him, touching his hands. We are next to you. We felt that hopefully he will stay alive. Unfortunately, after 3 days, he passed away. When I went to check on him, I saw all the maggots in his body. From where it came, he was in the ICU. We changed his wounds. We took a great care of him. From where did the maggots come? This is how people in Gaza are suffering. The control infection is very low, and they are not able to do anything with that, even with the medical mission coming from different countries, having their stuff with them and helping them there. But at the end, there are not enough tools to help them out.
Wow, wow, wow. You know, situation like this is really hard to digest and believe if we didn't hear it from someone like yourself who was actually on the ground. So my question is, so what is happening at this point now that you left? Who is doing the work that you've been doing?
And this is what, when we didn't want to leave, because when we were the last mission after the Rafah block happened. So there was another mission back they were in Egypt, and they supposed to enter Rafah, but because the blockage happened, so they were not allowed to enter Rafah. So we were thinking,
Doctor, I'll be right back.
Sure.
Hello, viewers in America and across the world. This is Eric Stevenson, host of the Power Talk show on Millennium News 24. Tune in every week at Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, American Time, and also on all of your iOS and Android devices. Also on Smart TV and Apple, Amazon, and worldwide through Verizon Satellite. And also worldwide through www.millenniumtvnews.com. And that's www.millenniumnews24.com. And through our social media, Millennium News. See you then. Welcome back to Power Talk. I'm your host, Eric Stevenson. We're here with Dr. Abukuwaik. You want to finish, Doctor, about?
Yeah. So every 2 weeks, as we mentioned, there has to be a medical mission into Gaza. So after the blockage of the Rafah border, the medical mission that they were in Egypt waiting to enter Gaza, they were not allowed. It was denied. So we were in Gaza thinking with the local people there, what we're going to do. The supplies that we had with us, which was very limited, of course, if we're going to compare it with the huge demand, is almost not available anymore. We used it all. And we witnessed that the last week, we don't have tools. By the way, it was one full day for one of the surgeons. He couldn't do any kind of operations because he has nothing to do. He has no any kind of medications and supplies to do any kind of operation. So we witnessed that, and we were talking what's going to happen. However, it was a very normal thing to say, it's not available, we are not going to do anything. So we started to talk to the senators in USA that first of all, we want to leave because we have to go back to our families and work. And number two, which is the more important thing, please let the medical missions that they are coming only for a humanitarian relief. We have nothing to do. We just want to help as a humanitarian relief. Let them come in. However, it was denied. No one was there for I don't know how many weeks. And after that, in June, the medical missions that it was allowed to go through the WHO, they have to go through Karm Abu Salim border. They cannot get with them any medical supplies or medications with them, only personal luggage, which I don't know how is the doctor going to do any operation without any tools, which is not available inside the hospital there. And of course, they have to sign not to get any help from U.S. authorities, because we left back then just because we asked the help for that.
But it seems that our president here, President Biden, according to the news reports they've been giving the American people, has been that all this humanitarian aid has been sent into Gaza and so on. But hearing from you, it's all sound like a hoax, or if it did get there, it didn't get inside Gaza. So,
I don't see that.
You know, so this is a big problem that we're being told something that's not true, especially when it comes to saving the lives of people. I don't know if you saw it today, this morning, Senator Bernie Sanders, of course, who's a Jewish senator, he says, he stated that, while Israel and all other nations have a right to always defend themselves, regardless of your nation, you have a right to self-defense. But what is going on in killing 50,000 people, over 50,000 in Gaza, he said, is unacceptable. It's not fair and it's not right. And I agree with him. And I think a majority or most American people agree with that. But our news is telling us like, oh, it's a healing process. It's being healed. Oh, we're resolving that. People are eating now. But this is not the case from what I'm hearing.
No, it's not the case.
And then they said that there's a bill that was introduced last week or by Republicans in Congress to actually stop humanitarian aid. So hearing from what you're saying and hearing from what I heard the senator say today means that this is an effort, knowing that these senators know what you're saying about these kids who are dying, about these seniors who are dying, all of these things happening, and they say to stop it. That means they want the destruction and killing of the Gaza people, who has nothing to do with this October 7th. They keep saying October 7th. Who agrees with the killing of people? No one. Whether it's on the Israeli side or the Gaza side. But the assassination and the genocide of the Gazian people who have nothing to do. And if it was their choice of war or peace, they would have taken the path of peace.
Yes.
So this is highly wrong and highly unfair. And for our governments to be running, our presidents or people running for president, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and to be taking side and talking about, oh, well, we want to uphold the right of Israel, fine. But at the expense of continuing to kill innocent people in Gaza, this should be accepted by the American people. We wish we had a good, strong third candidate who we could say we would rather go with, who would stand up for justice, freedom, justice, equality, and fairness for people around the world. But this is not what we're seeing. So we're hoping, if it's going to be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump who's going to be president, we hope they find in their hearts to hear these stories that you're telling, these actual life stories of the suffering of the Gaza people, and to actually try to find somewhere in their heart a little spot to say, we're going to do something or we're going to stop it. There's enough blood on the hands already for over 50,000, but something has to be done. And for the world to sit back and say, yes, just to talk about it's not right. It's not right. Oh, it's wrong. It's wrong. That's words. And it's a good word to say, but action of stopping it has to be done. Our legislators have to put their foot down and say, once and for all, it has to stop. Humanitarian aid needs to be forced to go in. If that means that they have to stop giving funding to Israel to allow this end, whatever it is. But you can't allow the people to continue on suffering like this.
Since June, from the people inside the hospitals and inside Gaza, since June, there is no humanitarian aids going inside Gaza. And the medical missions that entered Gaza since we left, they are very limited, very limited. And the doctors couldn't be from Palestinian origin. They cannot be from Palestinian origin, and they have to stay 1 month. They cannot carry with them any medical supplies or medications.
So what's the
And
purpose? What's the purpose then?
nothing. And it was very limited. And last week, the WHO, they sent a letter to all the NGOs. The medical missions are denied to enter Gaza. Even those limited ones after June, that they have no any kind of medical supplies and medication, they are denied to enter Gaza. So no one can enter Gaza now.
So this is where we're at today. I'm glad we have a network and an outlet like this media we're on today to have this discussion, because I can tell you they won't allow it to be on CNN. They won't allow it to be on other stations to let the American people hear the real deal. And any outlets that's exposing or having even a conversation on the real deal, they're shutting it down or taking them off the air. But the creator of all is witness and sees and hears all. Like you said, Shahada, that's what it is. We may not know and understand the bigger picture, but we see people dying unfairly and wrongfully. But we can only look at the creator and say, well, we don't see the answer or the reason, but maybe he has the answer and reason better than what we could understand or comprehend. But to me, I don't want to question why the creator allows or something like this, because he knows best. But I know there will be a remedy and there will be a solution sooner or later. And I just happy that and commend people like yourself who has the courage to even go in and do such things. And I know I don't know how you had the strength and heart to witness, especially the killings, and knowing that these little boys in the tent that you knew were blown up and killed the next couple of days or whatever. I mean, how you hold that in your heart, it's only God knows best on it, but
it's very hard, Eric, to see people, babies, neonatals, women killed, and actually more than 70 to 80% of people are from this kind of population, women and kids, though most of them. So, but at the same time, it was my best, happiest trip in my life. All the doctors and nurses who went to Gaza, they want to go back again, because there is something inside that small city that no one else in the whole world they have it. There is something there, the strength, the resilience, the nobility, and I believe in the future things will be way better for them, because what they have, none of us have.
I can tell you that trip will make you strong in faith. If it was any level of faith, you would be advanced in faith for being in such a place like that. But to see people who could still wake up with smiles on their faces every day and go through what they go through with a smile, it's like you said, where else could you see it? And what is it that they hold? It's something special. And we're hoping for the best now. There's pressure being put now in the politics side of things. People are arguing on both sides of the fence now that something has to be done, but they still holding back the information like you're telling us today. Many of the American people think that humanitarian aid is going in and is already in. And, this is, like I said, it's a hoax. It's a smoke stream to keep us content to say, oh, well, something's finally being done. Even though we can't still digest 50,000 people being murdered. We still can't take it. But that's done already. But moving forward, we believing that this humanitarian aid was there. But unfortunately, it's not the case.
No.
Maybe it's there, but maybe it's idling in trucks, miles and miles long, waiting to go in. It may not ever get it. But there'll be a solution remedy sooner or later.
It was very kind of weird that the polio vaccine, it was entered. That was entered Gaza. I don't know what is in it, by the way, honestly. However, that was the only thing that was entered Gaza.
Oh,
So, kids are killed, babies are killed, but they let the polio vaccine to enter. There was no vaccine. In the hospital, there was no vaccine. No, whatever. Just name all the vaccines you have. Hepatitis with all the control infection and the hygiene, the bad hygiene over there. There is not any hepatitis that you can give to any of the people. So I don't know why the polio vaccine entered Gaza, but that's what happened. And there are so many essential things that people survived because we had with us the IVIG for the GBA syndrome. We had 4 people that they were survived because we were able to have this for them. So, but after that, I believe now they are not there anymore. It's a very hard situation, as you mentioned. It's a very simple, essential thing, the humanitarian relief for people over there, food and water, and we are in 2024, and we are witness all what's happening, and we are just talking.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, we could only pray that there'll be a solution and a quick solution. But maybe it's something greater than what we perceive and know. I know Allah doesn't sleep, and I know one day we'll get to know the whole story. But I don't think those people's lives are going to be taken for granted and just killed like that without something for them. So it's the problem is those who committed it. What is going to be on the scale for them? How do they pay in answer to that?
Yeah.
Their souls may be purified and in Jannah, but what would be for those who committed it? So it's left up now to see what happens, but we thank you, Dr. Ghada, for coming on and sharing the information you did. I know we could probably talk if we had 10 hours and you still would be having more and more stories, but continue to do your good work. Allah bless you and all that you've done and all of your family, and continue to strengthen you to help in any way you can. Not all the people follow and believe what our so-called leaders are saying, because it's not true. And many of us try to learn and read and get to the bottom of truth, and that's why we had you here today. So we thank you for coming on, and we hope the viewers will share this with others, and the demand and the pressure continues to amp up until there is justice for Gaza. So thank you, Doctor, for being on, and we'll have you back at another time to share some more information.
Thank you, Eric, for having me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Viewers for listening and tuning in. If there's anything you do, please, it's time to share information, and pressure has to be elevated that the humanitarian aid is demanded and put in right now into Gaza. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.